everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to tackle something that is absolutely essential for any business: ERP systems and process mapping. We're going to see how drawing a simple picture, a picture of how your company works, can shine a huge spotlight on hidden problems, and how the right software can come in and save the day. All right, let's jump right in. You've heard this a million times, right? Of course you have, but it's a classic for a reason. Seriously, in a business, trying to explain a really complex process using only words, it can get so messy, so confusing. But a visual, a simple drawing, it can make everything just click. And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to sketch a product, but how in the world do you visualize something like payroll or handling a customer order that touches 5 different departments? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. Okay, let's start with a really simple idea. Imagine you're trying to get around a new city, but you don't have a map. No phone, no GPS, nothing. You might get to where you're going eventually, but you're definitely going to take some wrong turns, hit dead ends, and waste a whole lot of time. Well, a business that doesn't have a clear picture of its own processes, it's in the exact same boat. Here's the truth. Most of the ways we work aren't clean and simple. They've usually just grown over the years, with little fixes and workarounds patched on here and there. And because you can't see the whole process, it's almost impossible to spot the hidden bottlenecks, the repetitive steps, and all those little delays that are secretly costing a ton of time and money. This is what it all boils down to. Without that map, you're just guessing. You're constantly reacting to problems after they happen. But with a map, you see the entire landscape. You can actually find the smartest route. And all those hidden problems, they suddenly become opportunities to make things way, way better. It literally transforms chaos into clarity. So we've been throwing this word map around a lot. Let's get really specific. What is a process map when we're talking about a business? At its heart, that's all it is. It's a flowchart, but a super powerful one, because it's not just about listing the steps. It's about showing who is responsible for each step, and critically, where the key decisions are made that can change the whole direction of the work. And you know what the best part is? You don't need to be some kind of artist to make one. Process maps use a really simple, standard set of symbols. Once you learn what 4 shapes mean, you can basically read or even create a map for just about anything. So let's look at these basic building blocks. See the oval? That's your start or your stop point. The rectangle? That's an activity, someone doing something. The diamond is a decision point, usually with a yes or no path leading out of it. And the arrows, well, they just connect everything and show you which way things are flowing. Simple, right? Now this concept is a total game changer. Swim lanes. They organize the whole map by showing who's responsible for what. Just like swimmers in a pool, each person or department stays in their own lane. And this is where you can clearly see the handoffs, when the work moves from one person's lane to another's. And trust me, those handoff points are almost always where delays and mistakes happen. Okay, theory is awesome, but how do you actually build one of these things? Let's walk through the actual steps for creating a process map from the ground up. First things first, you can't do this alone in a room. You need 2 key people. You need the process owner, that's the manager who's in charge and can actually approve changes. And maybe even more importantly, you need the subject matter experts or SMEs. These are the people on the front lines, the ones who actually do the work. Their knowledge is pure gold. Building the map is pretty straightforward. First, you define the scope. Where does it start? Where does it end? Second, you identify those swim lanes. Who's all involved? And then number 3, this is the most important part. You map the as-is process. You have to be brutally honest here. You document what really happens, warts and all, not the perfect version from the company handbook. Only after you have that real picture can you actually analyze it and find the problems. All right, enough theory. Let's see what this looks like in the real world. We're going to dig into a case study about a company called FitGear and their, let's just say, interesting payroll process. So FitGear has about 75 employees who still use one of those old-school manual time card machines. Every 2 weeks, someone has to go collect all those cards, check them, and then get all that data into the payroll system. Sounds pretty simple, right? But let's see what the process map actually showed. Okay, get this. The map revealed that the exact same information, an employee's hours, was being typed in by hand 3 separate times. First on the time card, then a receptionist typed it into an Excel sheet, and then a clerk typed it into the final payroll system. I mean, come on, every single one of those re-entries is a huge risk for a typo, a massive waste of time, and just a totally pointless step. And that was just the beginning. The as-is map laid everything bare. Just look at this list. Way too many handoffs causing delays, endless loops of checking and fixing mistakes, a really serious security problem with the payroll clerk handling sensitive HR info, and they were still printing paper checks. None of this was obvious until they finally drew the picture. So, seeing all those problems laid out so clearly, that is the huge first step. The next step is using that map to actually design a much, much better way forward. And this right here, this is the payoff. The whole point is to get from that messy as-is map to a clean, smart to-be map. And this is where ERP systems, enterprise resource planning systems, come into play. The perfect to-be process is streamlined, it's automated, and data is entered just once, right at the source. And ERP is the tool that makes that dream a reality. It's about totally redesigning how you work around a smarter, unified system. So let's wrap this all up. Why does any of this matter? Well, process mapping gives you the visibility to see the problems you didn't even know you had. It helps you find and get rid of wasted time and effort, and ultimately it creates clarity for everyone on the team and gives you a clear blueprint for making things better. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Every single one of us has processes in our jobs. Think about your own work for a second. The reports you have to file, the approvals you have to get. What would a map of your process look like? What hidden frustrations or brilliant opportunities might you find if you just took a little time to draw the map? Thanks for watching.